Hello, and welcome to the Winning Agenda's coverage of online matches. My name's Jesse Marshall, and I'm here for another series with my Kate 2015 deck. I don't know whether Catman is a slightly deceptive name. Seems we've only got one Atman and a couple of data suckers. But this is, I guess, a hark back to a classic Kate deck that I've been playing for quite a long time, trying to incorporate some of the new tools that are available to runners. So we've got Film Critic here, which helps dramatically against decks like Replicating Perfection, as well as generally any decks that use NAPD Contract, the Future Perfect, or other agendas that have when accessed abilities. It also helps against decks that are trying to kill you using mid-seasons because it gets around that. So Film Critic is a card that I've really liked since it came out. I think a lot of Corp decks reacted to it by stopping relying on those difficult to steal agendas that have when accessed abilities. But now, because Film Critic hasn't been played all that much, a lot of those cards are coming back into use. But not only use, Corp decks are relying on them. So I'm really liking having Film Critic around. This deck is also trying to utilize this sort of Shaper toolbox suite. You've got Deus Ex that helps you get through not only Ice that has AP subroutines, but also prevents net damage against your sort of snare-based PE deck. The Breaker Suite is sort of Gordian Blade, Mimic, Corroder with Lady as backup for the larger barriers. And you've got Data Sucker to support those, as well as an Atman, which helps not only being an efficient breaker early in the game and allowing you to be aggressive, but also later in the game being something that helps you to mitigate the fact that if you're relying on Mimic Data Sucker to get past large sentries, you can get blown out by a sort of Cyberdex Virus Suite scenario, in which case you know that if you have a significant amount of money, Atman is going to lay to get through anything. So that's the Breaker Suite and Film Critic. Technical Writer is another card that I've recently included in this deck and I've been really, really enjoying. It's naturally at home in Kate, and it works very, very well as an economy piece that powers you in the mid game, which is not something that a lot of economy pieces do. The traditional sort of Sure Gamble, Lucky Find event economy suite gives you a really big tempo boost early in the game, or I guess whenever you play it, but early in the game is the ideal time to be getting that sort of tempo boost. But you can sort of run out of tempo after a while, or you can ride that tempo and then find that you're in a bit of a rut in terms of your ability to make runs a couple of turns later. Technical Writer fixes that by allowing you to consistently make runs and essentially paying you for doing what you do during your first lot of runs, which is install a lot of programs, as well as paying you double for using things like self-modifying code and clone chip. So those old stalwarts of the Shaper rig are still there. I've got 2 Plascretes, which is something that I've always had in my K deck. I think it's really, really important to honor Scorched Earth, and having 2 Plascretes in your deck really allows you to compete in the mid game and start making runs reasonably early behind the safety of a Plascrete Carapace. You've got the one of Escher, which can help to deal with some tricky ice scenarios. It's, I guess, a bit of a concession to the fact that you can find yourself in a situation where you're sort of locked out with this rig. It's not a perfect rig, but it's something that's low influence, aggressive, and reasonably costed. Escher allows you to get out of some of those binds, but also can sometimes just blow out Corpse. Like if you can just put 2 pop-up windows on R&D when they had 2 toll boosts there against an NBN deck, that can be massive. 3 R&D interface to go with the 3 modded is something that I've always really loved in my Shaper decks. I like what modded does for your tempo. Early in the game particularly, it allows you to consistently deploy your interfaces. It also works well with Atman in a pinch, but also Lady and Gordian Blade, both of which cost 4, which goes down to 0 with a modded if they're your first install. So that's the deck. Oh, Astrolabe is the console, I should mention. It's a cheap console, it's efficient, it gets you up to 5 memory with a minimum of fuss, and there are a lot of horizontal decks at the moment, and it punishes them reasonably well. So that's the deck. I will be now playing through some games. I hope you enjoy them, and I'll talk to you soon. This is Jesse for the Winning Agenda.